Akmal Saleh has hit back at a MCA leader over his remarks about BN chairperson Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. Meanwhile, the judiciary has announced that it will be establishing a special court for graft cases. Stay tuned for all this and more on KiniNews. Akmal Saleh has turned his attention to MCA after one of its leaders criticized Zahid Hamidi as a liability to BN.
Akmal Saleh has told MCA leader to propose that his party leave Barisan Nasional if he believes that Ahmad Zahid Hamidi is no longer fit to lead the coalition. Akmal was responding to remarks made by MCA Vice President Tan Teik Cheng. In a Facebook post, Akmal said Tan should quit MCA himself if the party does not agree with such a proposal, adding that only then would his words match his actions. He accused Tan of talking big without contributing meaningfully to the party and pointed out that Tan had contested in the elections but lost by a large majority. Akmal also shared an image of the election results from the seat Tan contested, saying it was meant to show who the real liability was. He further remarked that MCA President Wee Ka Siong should give him a mirror. Previously, Tan had criticized Zahid for what he described as irresponsible leadership and a tendency to speak without due consideration. The criticism followed Zahid's retraction of a claim alleging the existence of a Team B within the DAP. Tan argued that as BN's top leader, Zahid should be mindful that his words and actions represent the entire coalition rather than personal emotions or political maneuvering. He also claimed that Zahid's leadership had sparked anger and disappointment among BN members and the public, describing the Umno president as a growing liability to the coalition.
The government has announced that Bahasa Malaysia and history papers will be compulsory for all students in Malaysia. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim made the announcement today while expressing hope that the language controversy would be resolved.
Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has announced that all students nationwide, regardless of their education stream, will be required to sit for the Bahasa Malaysia and history papers at the SPM level. This requirement applies to students from international schools, religious schools, and those pursuing the Unified Examination Certificate. Anwar said this at the launch of the Malaysia Education Plan and Malaysia Higher Education Plan 2026-2035 in Putrajaya today.
Kita lihat sekolah agama rakyat ini dan tahfiz dan sebagainya, sistem persekolahan yang kemudian sekarang meningkat. Mereka juga termasuk dalam kategori ini. Semua bantuan kerajaan itu bersyarat. Dia boleh kekalkan manhaj tarbiyah dan kitab-kitab yang ditentukan. Kita tidak akan mengusik, ganggu. Tetapi di sekolah agama rakyat dan tahfiz yang mencecah lebih 400,000 pelajar juga diwajibkan mengambil bahasa Melayu dan sejarah Malaysia. Ini terpakai juga tentang kontroversi kecil soal UEC walaupun keadaan sudah berubah. Majoriti besar mengambil SPM dan juga majoriti besar telah mengambil SPM bahasa. Tetapi dalam peraturan sekarang, bahasa Melayu dan sejarah Malaysia juga diwajibkan bagi sekolah antarabangsa, sekolah agama rakyat dan semua sekolah aliran Cina atau UEC. Maka dengan kaedah ini, jalur mereka untuk pergi ke pendidikan tinggi sama ada dari sekolah antarabangsa atau sekolah agama rakyat dan UEC itu tidak lagi harus menjadi kontroversi. Kita terima baik asalkan syarat ini diterima.
From now on, you can also listen to KiniNews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Scan the QR code on the screen to follow us.
The Court of Appeal has freed the government from liability over the death of Altantuya Sharibu. It also reduced the amount of damages awarded to her family.
The Court of Appeal has reduced the damages awarded to the family of murdered Mongolian model Altantuya Sharibu from 5 million to 1.4 million ringgit. It has also fully discharged the government from liability over the 2006 death. The court had allowed the government's appeal against the Shah Alam High Court's 2022 verdict. However, it dismissed a separate appeal filed by the third defendant, political analyst Abdul Razak Baginda. The court found that there was no evidence that former Special Actions Unit commandos Azila Hadri and Sirul Azhar Umar were acting under the government's instruction in Altantuya's murder. Azila and Sirul were the first and second defendants in the case. Meanwhile, Razak's appeal was dismissed after the panel found his contention that he did not intend to cause physical harm and his involvement in Altantuya's murder was minimal and could not stand. With today's dismissal of his appeal, Razak remains liable to pay the damages awarded to the plaintiffs. On December 16, 2022, the High Court ordered all the defendants, including the government at that time, to pay 5 million ringgit compensation to the family over Altantuya's murder.
Meanwhile, Altantuya Sharibu's father has called for the truth from Azila on who had ordered the murder of his daughter.
Setef Sharibu is seeking an explanation from former police officer Azila Hadri on who ordered his daughter's killing in 2006. In a statement after the Court of Appeal proceedings today, he said he wants to hear from Azila, and once that truth has been established, then there will be no other way but for an apology to be ordered. Reiterating his desire for a sincere apology, Setef, who will be appealing the verdict clearing the government, stressed that his pursuit of the case has never been about money. He said he was merely someone who had been seeking justice for the past 20 years and was asking only for a sincere one-word apology. He added that he still holds on to the hope that one day, after 20 years, he will hear an apology acknowledging the unlawful wrongdoing. Setef stated that it is not the people of Malaysia who should apologize, but that an official apology should be tendered to both the Mongolian government and people. Altantuya was murdered in October 2006, and her remains were blown up with military-grade explosives. Azila and Sirul were subsequently convicted of the murder and sentenced to death in April 2009. While Azila remains in prison, his death sentence was commuted to 40 years in jail and 12 rotan strokes. In his affidavit, he claimed that he received orders from high-ranking government officials to eliminate and dispose of Altantuya.
If you like the stories we produce, consider supporting us by subscribing to Malaysia Kini. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen to subscribe.
The judiciary will be forming a special high court to oversee cases of corruption. This was in response to the King's decree delivered during his address to Parliament yesterday.
The judiciary has announced that it will establish a special high court to oversee cases of corruption. This came in response to the decree by Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar yesterday. In a statement this morning, it said that the decision was made after consultation with the Chief Justice and the Chief Judge of Malaya. The judiciary stated that currently there are 14 special sessions courts for corruption established to hear corruption cases across Malaysia, with the goal of resolving cases within 1 year from the date of registration. It said the special high court will hear corruption cases as well as appeals from the existing special sessions courts for corruption. As a start, the initiative will commence at the Kuala Lumpur High Court. During the opening of the first parliament session for this year, Sultan Ibrahim urged the government to ensure that experienced judges are prepared for corruption hearings and to establish a special track for these cases to be settled urgently. The monarch had also described the recent cases of corruption in the armed forces as merely the tip of the iceberg, declaring the corrupt as traitors to the country.
The MACC is looking into a 2.5 billion ringgit money laundering claims against 2 IJM officials.
The MACC has identified a member of IJM Corporation Berhad's top management who holds a Tan-Sri title, along with a company advisor, as persons of interest in its probe into allegations of a 2.5 billion ringgit money laundering scheme. According to Bernama, an internal source said the commission is gathering more information related to the allegations against the company before opening a formal investigation. The source reportedly said that the investigation team is in the process of collecting additional details to ascertain the veracity of the claims. When contacted, MACC Chief Commissioner Azam Baki confirmed that an investigation into IGM is underway. He added that further details will be disclosed from time to time. IGM also confirmed that officers from the MACC and the Inland Revenue Board were present at the company's office today to obtain information as part of their process. In a filing with Bahasa Malaysia today, the construction company said it is cooperating fully with the authorities. Previously, the United Kingdom's Serious Fraud Office was reported to have launched an investigation into alleged money laundering and corruption involving multi-billion ringgit investment transactions linked to the two individuals. It is understood that both individuals are overseas, and MACC is also examining allegations of share price manipulation. Yesterday, Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar described the recent cases of corruption in the armed forces as merely the tip of the iceberg. During his opening address in Parliament, Sultan Ibrahim urged the MACC to conduct investigations as urgently and thoroughly as possible, regardless of ranks and status. He also reminded the government to ensure that experienced judges are prepared to prioritize and handle such cases so they can be settled urgently. With this, Kinitv posted a poll to get the public views on the Agong's remarks about tackling corruption in Malaysia. And here are the results. The majority of voters at 73% believe that strict action will restore public confidence towards government enforcement agencies. However, 21% believes that the real issues lie with the enforcement agencies itself. Meanwhile, 5% said that continuous monitoring is needed. What do you think of this issue? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm John. Thanks for watching.